Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Melissa Siegel and I'm a professor of migration studies. Today we're going to talk about remittances, basically the basics of remittances. So what do I mean by remittances? When people usually hear the term remittances, they think immediately of what I would call monetary or financial remittances. And these are generally private money transfers that migrants make individually or collectively, generally back to their country of origin, or that's how we usually discuss it. Of course, it's also possible for transfers to be sent from countries of origin to countries of destination. An example of this, for instance, would be students studying abroad and their parents sending money from perhaps India to the UK for the students' living expenses and perhaps their tuition. So there could be remittances going either way, but the remittances that we usually internationally focus more on are remittances from countries of destination to countries of origin. So these money flows from individuals back to either individuals, or sometimes it's done collectively. This money is usually sent back to family members and friends, households, but also sometimes to communities for collective projects. Now, there are several different kinds of remittances that we can talk about. The most common ones that are usually discussed are these financial or monetary remittances, but there are also what we call in-kind remittances. So in-kind remittances are actually stuff or goods that are sent between countries. So you could think of things like clothing or electronics, medicine, food, but also plenty of other things. And of course, these in-kind remittances can also have monetary values, but it's not always easy to measure these. Sometimes we can still measure these in surveys or things like that, but it's just important to know that we also see in-kind remittances being transferred regularly. Now, another kind of remittances that you can think of are what we call social remittances or social transfers. This term was originally coined by an academic whose name is Peggy Levitt. And the kind of original definition of social remittances was the transfer of ideas, behaviors, identity, and social capital from migrants to their communities of origin. However, of course, this definition has kind of expanded over time, and now sometimes social remittances are also seen as even broader, kind of transfers of knowledge and know-how and norms and things like that also. So social remittances can also be extremely important. You can see how monetary remittances, in-kind remittances, and social remittances could all be very important for how migration can affect development back in countries of origin. We're not going to talk too much about that today. Look for other videos that will be coming on my channel that will discuss more the effects of these remittances and how they affect development in the future. But right now what I want to do is zoom in on mainly monetary remittances. This is because monetary remittances are those that are measured most and that there's often the most focus on internationally. So if we look at monetary remittances, at least as of 2018, and this is generally data from the World Bank, we can see that monetary remittances were $689 billion worldwide. Now, if we focus only on remittances to developing countries, actually these remittances the majority are actually going to developing countries. So $529 billion in remittances were sent to developing countries in 2018. If we actually look at this next graph, what I'm showing you here is again some data from the World Bank, but these are remittance flows to low and middle income countries between 1990 and 2019. And what's interesting about this graph is, well, one, you can see very clearly that remittances have been growing over time. They also generally seem to be less volatile than other forms of external finance like foreign direct investment or official development aid. Another very interesting thing is that already for quite a long time now, remittances to low and middle income countries actually exceed development aid. And I think that is something that is quite interesting, especially when we think about the possible development effects of remittances. What's also interesting to see from this graph is that we're seeing that remittances are becoming just as important as foreign direct investment. So again, when thinking about the development effects of this money, you can see that they're becoming more and more important. I also put a graph here looking only at foreign direct investment and remittances are actually projected to surpass foreign direct investment in low and middle income countries in the future, well now and continuing into the future. I think it's also important to understand the people that are supported by these remittances. So again, according to the World Bank and to the World Bank News in 2019, about 1 in 9 people globally are supported by funds sent home by migrant workers, which is very interesting. So basically, first about 1 in 7 or about 1 billion people in the world are involved in remittances. So that's either sending remittances or receiving remittances. But around 800 million people, or as I said before, 1 in 9 people in the world are actually recipients of these flows to some extent. So this is money sent by their family members who have migrated generally for work. What's also interesting is that the money that migrants send back to their families represents about 15% of what migrants earn. Of course, now this is on average. This could vary a lot depending on country, but depending on also the migrant themselves, the types of migrants. But in general, on average, migrant workers send between $200 and $300 every time they send remittances, and this is on average $200 or $300 every 1 or 2 months. So this just gives you the idea of the remittance sending behavior of an average migrant. The rest of what they have earned, about 85% of what they have earned, actually stays in the country of destination. And that is because, of course, they still need to generally finance their needs in that country. So it goes to their housing, to their food, and to other things that they need in the country of destination. It perhaps could also go into investments in the country of destination or also savings. Now, I hope this has just given you a bit of an idea of what remittances look like globally, how they compare to other external financing, and how they could, or maybe this helps you to already think about how this money could feed into development outcomes in countries of origin. Now, in my next video, keep a lookout because I'll show you more where remittances are going and where they're coming from. And in more videos later, I'll also talk more about the effects of these remittances, especially on the families and individuals and communities where these remittances are going. If you like this video, please like or subscribe to my channel. Keep a lookout for other videos also on migration and remittances. And don't worry, I'll also put more references and details in the description in case you're interested. See you next time.